Hey everyone, my name is Brian. After many years of building with Angular, I'm here to help you level up your skills and build better apps. If you've ever built a custom form control in Angular, you've probably run into the ControlValueAccessor. And if we're being honest, it's a lot. In this video, I'll show you how you might not need the ControlValueAccessor at all, even for rich custom form controls like a star rating component. Instead, we'll simplify things using modern Angular features like signal inputs and direct form control bindings. No interfaces, no providers, no boilerplate. So stick around. We're going to greatly simplify a real-world component, make it leaner, smarter, and easier to work with. All right, let's start by looking at the app the way it is right now. We have a basic profile form with two fields, a name input and a star rating component. When I type in a name and click on the stars to select a rating, we can see the form status change. The touched status updates as soon as I interact with either field. And we can also see the form value updating properly in real time. It all works, but we're about to make it a lot simpler. Let's jump into the code and see what's happening. In the profile form component, we have a standard reactive form setup. There's a form group with two controls, name, which is required, and rating, which starts at -1 and uses a minimum validator to require a valid rating. Then we also have a reset rating method that resets the control and updates its validation status. Now, let's look at the template. We see the name and rating controls bound using the form control name directive, like you'd expect. But notice this, we're applying form control name to a custom component. And that means we had to implement ControlValueAccessor under the hood to make this work. Let's open up the rating stars component. There's no input or other native form controls here, just some custom markup. Clicking a star triggers the rate function, and the current rating is tracked using a value property. So even though this is a custom UI, we're pretending it behaves like a native input. That's why we had to implement ControlValueAccessor. Let's switch to the TypeScript to see how. Here, we can see the providers array where we're registering ngValueAccessor. We're also implementing the ControlValueAccessor interface. That means that we need this write value function, this register on change function, this register on touched function, as well as the on change and on touched functions here too. And then we have the custom rate function to track the custom rating value, as well as this custom reset function and output to trigger resets manually. This works, but for something as simple as passing a number back and forth, it's a lot of boilerplate. Since we're switching away from ControlValueAccessor, let's clean things up. First, let's remove the providers array. Then, remove the ControlValueAccessor interface. Now we can remove all of the required methods. Let's also delete the old value property. We won't be tracking internal state anymore. Also, we now need to remove all of the imports that are no longer needed. We'll control everything via the form control directly now. Now, let's update this concept with Angular's new signal input function. Let's add a new control property. We'll use the input function and we'll make it required. And it'll be typed as a form control of type number. This will now give us reactive access to the parent's form control. So now we need to change the way the rate function works. First, we'll use the new control input to set the control value using the setValue function. Then we need to mark the control dirty. And finally, we need to also mark it touched. We also need to update the reset rating function too. Here, we need to reset the control. Then we also need to update the value and validity. Finally, let's remove the reset output and its import because it's no longer needed. Now, this component no longer tracks any internal state. It's fully reactive and much simpler. Now we need to make a couple of changes in the template. We need to replace the old value property with the value from our new control input. Okay, now we need to switch over and change a few more things in the profile form component. First, we can remove the form control name and the reset output. We need to replace them with the new control input. And now we'll pass the rating control from our form group directly to this component through this input. All right, one last thing to do here. Let's switch to the TypeScript. Here, since we removed the reset event, we can now delete the reset rating method entirely. We're now working with pure reactive form controls. No ControlValueAccessor, no outputs, no workaround logic. Okay, let's save and test it. Everything looks good to start, right? Now I'll pick a rating. Now the touch status is properly updated as well as the rating control value. Then when I click the reset button, the value resets, validation updates, and touch state reflects immediately. Pretty cool, right? The form works just like before, but now it's cleaner and much easier to work with. Now let's make sure that it works properly with an initial value too. Let's start with a value of 2. This type of thing could potentially happen if the initial control value was set from some stored data that the user had previously filled out and saved. Okay, let's save and see. Nice, the star rating component picks it up automatically. So that works how we'd want it to also. Now I'll change it back to -1 so that validation kicks in again. Now we should also add support for disabling this control. So first, let's set it up so that it's disabled out of the gate. Okay, now let's add a disabled state to the rating component. Here, we need to use class binding to add a disabled class. And we'll want to add this class when the control is in a disabled state. Okay, now we just need to add some styles for this state in our component styles. Now let's save and see how it works. Nice. Now the component dims and you can no longer click the stars. We did this without writing a single extra line for change tracking. It just works because we're using signals. So here's the big idea. You don't always need ControlValueAccessor to build a custom form control in Angular. If you're building something like a star rating, slider, or toggle that just talks to a form control, signal inputs and direct bindings are often all you need. No providers, no interfaces, no boilerplate. This makes your component smaller, more focused, and easier to maintain. If you found this helpful, drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment with questions or ideas you want me to cover next. And if you've got a custom form control in your app that still uses ControlValueAccessor, try refactoring it. You might be surprised how much you can simplify. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.